See, in the last class, we have seen the salient features of Indian Constitution. We said Indian Constitution is the lengthiest constitution. While the United States originally had only 7 articles, Australia 128 articles, and Canada 147 articles. We also saw that it is an evolved constitution. Our constitution is not gifted, instead it is evolved. We found that our constitution is a basket of borrowings, and also we follow parliamentary form of government. We also seen the difference between legal right, constitutional right, and fundamental right. Now we will continue with the salient features of constitution again. See, our constitution is a blend of rigidity and flexibility. It is rigid as far as basic structure is concerned and flexible in many cases. For example, the very fact that in 70 years the constitution has been amended 104 times itself is a testimony that the constitution is very flexible. We have the directive principles of state policy because the country may be ruled by different parties, different ideologically affiliated people, coalitions, united front, etc. But the problem which is being faced by the country, everybody knows: poverty, no housing, no health care, etc. So we had made a common minimum program in the constitution itself, which is called the Directive Principles of State Policy, and the state has been mandated to implement these Directive Principles of State Policy. Similarly, our constitution is federal in structure but unitary in spirit. As we have already seen, the federal qualities of a constitution is written constitution. Our constitution is also written. Division of powers, as Schedule 7. It is a dual government, central government, state government, independent judiciary, Supreme Court, and supremacy of constitution. All the characteristics of federal constitution are included in our constitution. So we say that our constitution is federal in structure. But it is unitary in spirit. Why? Because the very fact that our Rajya Sabha, though it is a representative body of the states, we have nominated members. 12 members are nominated. And unequal representation for the states. UP has got 14 members or 15 members, whereas Sikkim has got only 1 member. And 12 members are nominated. And appointment of governors and emergency provisions. And indestructible union with destructible states. The name of the state, territory of the state, boundary of the state can be changed without the concurrence of the state. So these are all not federal features. So it is federal in structure, no doubt, but unitary in spirit. Similarly, we have universal adult franchise. 18 years and above, irrespective of sex, or property, or caste, or creed, or religion, everybody is entitled to vote. 61st Amendment Act 1985 reduced the voting age from 21 to 18. We have independent judiciary, guarantor of fundamental rights, guarantor of minority rights, endowed with judicial review. Article 13, that is, the state shall not make any law which takes away or abridges any of the rights conferred in Part 3 of the Constitution. If any law is made taking away or abridging any of the rights conferred in Part 3 of the Constitution, that law, to the extent of repugnancy, is null and void. Remember, it is null and void. If any law is made taking away any of the rights in Part 3 of the Constitution, Part 3 is fundamental rights, that law is null and void. So from this article, Article 13 only, the Supreme Court and High Court derives powers to enforce Constitution, to enforce fundamental rights. Article 226 gives the powers to the High Court. Article 32 gives the powers to the Supreme Court. Remember, while these are all common things, Everybody know, you know, everybody know. But we should know what are the unique features of Indian Constitution, which no other country, which no other constitution has. Rarely they have, maybe, but majority constitutions do not have these provisions. Number one, first is preventive detention law. Under that is Article 22 of the Constitution. Normally, this preventive detention is there only during emergency. But in India, we have the preventive detention even during normal times. Remember. Number two, ordinance making powers. Article 123. Ordinance making powers. Article 123 for the President of India, 213 for the governors. Here, the separation of powers is diverted because the President, who is the executive, he is making a law pending approval by Parliament. So, ordinance making powers is unique feature of Indian Constitution. Similarly, anti-defection law, Schedule 10. Normally, no other constitution, to my knowledge, has this provision because we do not rely upon our own legislators. We fear that the people's representative may cross the floor, and we have the anti-defection law. Similarly, advisory jurisdiction. The Supreme Court is not, and the audit are not expected to give any opinion. Whereas we have a provision under Article 143, Supreme Court can give suggestion, can give advice to the President of India. Though it is not binding on the President, it is binding on all subordinate courts. This is the rare phenomena of Indian Constitution. Similarly, SLP, Special Leave Petition, Article 136. Normally, you cannot approach the Supreme Court, that is Supreme Judiciary, bypassing the lower judiciaries. But here is a case, any person can approach the Supreme Court if to separate the flagrant violation of the provisions of the Constitution or the principles of natural justice. Similarly, fundamental duties, that is Article 51A. Normally, no other country except Japan has. But in Japan, a right to work is a fundamental right. Whereas in India, it is not a fundamental right. Except for 100 days, right to work is not a fundamental right. And another salient feature is, unique feature is Article 370. That is erstwhile Article 370. We had a separate constitution within the constitution. We had dual citizenship. JNK people had dual citizenship, dual constitution. Of course, that has been rectified now. So it is no longer a unique feature. Article 370 you can omit. So rest of the things you should remember. Number one, Article 22, then Article 123 and 213, Anti-Defection Law, Schedule 10, Advisory Jurisdiction 143 of the Supreme Court, SLP of 136, Fundamental Duties, that is Article 51A and Article 370 JNK. These are all the unique features of Indian Constitution. And thank you.